Using reference management software like Papers, you can apply the same principles for assigning and using utility ratings as I described in the Finder section. So here I will illustrate with the same paper that I'm writing. Basically, I've created a folder which they call collections in Papers. And again, I've organized them with one section per major topic in the paper. And you can go ahead and create new folders. Select the subfolder that you want to expand, and then you create this collection. You have a manual collection, which means that you're just going to be manually dragging and dropping entries into the folder. Give it a name. And then any paper that you add to a particular folder has an implicit utility rating. That is to say that it's judged by yourself to be useful for the paper that you're writing. Now, when you add a paper into a folder in Papers, you're not actually moving the paper. You're just creating a reference to the paper in the different folder. So here, I'm going to grab a paper that is in the affect section. It deals with imagery. I also want to be able to see that within the context of imagery. So I've dragged and dropped it there, and it's basically in both locations. So I'll be able to find it here. So in that respect, it's a bit like using aliases in the Finder, as we were seeing earlier, except you don't have to explicitly use an alias command. It just automatically treats each drag and drop as creating an alias. You basically encounter the same issue in Papers as you do in the Finder, which is that the collections can become a little bit unwieldy, and at some point you need to separate the wheat from the chaff. Now, we've already seen that we can use caliber ratings using stars, for instance. Okay, in the previous section we saw that. There is a distinction between caliber and utility, which is what we've been talking about during this chapter. There are a couple of ways you can designate what's useful. One is to just basically use a flag. So I can grab a paper here, assuming I think this is useful, and then I can expose the inspector, show inspector, and then there's a flag. So I can basically flag this paper by clicking on the flag symbol, and then I can sort all of these papers in this particular folder by flag, so that I can see, okay, these are the most useful folders for me right now. Now, Papers doesn't currently support tags. It has a keyword function, but that's actually quite different from tags. Keywords represent the keywords that are embedded in the PDF file that are basically assigned by whoever created the PDF file. But as usual, there are ways of working around these limitations. If you wanted to apply a tag to designate the utility of information of a particular document, then you could click on the notes pane here and add a tag, which you define by convention, say this utility 5, for instance, and then you can search for all the documents in your folder that have that utility rating, which is effectively acting as a tag. This is a principle that you can apply throughout OS X software because most apps, for instance, like OmniFocus, don't actually support tags, so you have to come up with your own conventions if you want to tag information.